All right, guys. So Alex Jones did an interview with Channel 5, and man, this was a wacky one. So let's dive into it.
Do you feel responsible for what happened to the Sandy Hook families?
Yes, I killed the children.
But beyond that,
I went in that school, I pulled a gun out, and I shot every one of them myself. I mean, I'm guilty. It's true.
No,
let's just, do I feel responsible that someone that played shoot 'em up video games on a bunch of drugs, went and killed a bunch of kids, and then the internet questioned it and I covered that?
Okay. What's so funny here is, how did he deflect? He said somebody on psychiatric drugs who plays shoot 'em up video games went and killed these kids. So in other words, he feels like he's a scapegoat, but then he turns around and scapegoats like antidepressants and video games. What percentage of people who play video games and are even addicted to video games become mass shooters? I'll wait. They've actually studied this in detail. It's totally bogus, this notion that like violent video games lead to mass shootings. Nonsense. They have violent video games, you know, in Japan and in South Korea, and they don't have the same kind of shootings we have here. It's just nonsense. They've done empirical studies on this. Even the idea of like the antidepressants. Guys, it is more likely that somebody who ends up committing a mass shooting, it would be like they're supposed to be on the antidepressants, but they stop taking them. And then they become depressed and they're going through withdrawal, and then they're more likely to do the mass shooting. The idea it's like because they're on these antidepressants, that is leading them to do the mass shooting. That's nonsense. A lot of these, we know exactly what these SSRIs do. A lot of these different drugs for depression and anxiety. And the idea like making you violent is one of the symptoms. It's just not. So it's so funny that as he's trying to like act like I'm being scapegoated, he turns around and scapegoats video games and psychiatric medication. It's just classic Alex Jones.
Sandy Hook, the evidence is just overwhelming. We've looked at all sides. We played devil's advocate from both sides.
No, I don't feel responsible, and I don't apologize anymore. I'm done. I don't apologize.
By the way, because you have the old segments of Alex Jones talking about Sandy Hook in this video, it is 100% going to be demonetized. And it has been happening a lot lately, where a variety of videos that we're doing, even on subjects that it shouldn't at all be demonetized, it's getting demonetized. So if you support the show, please click the Patreon link in the video description box and go donate $2 to your boy per month, or $5, or if you want to go nuts, a whole $7 to your boy per month, because it really helps out a lot, and YouTube has, in some ways, has not been very kind lately. So just a side note.
Apologize, I killed the kids.
Was there a definitive?
No, I killed them. I killed him.
You didn't kill him.
No, I did.
No, you didn't.
No, everybody said, no, I killed him. I killed him. I already admitted I did it. I killed him. I'm the bad guy. I'm the devil. Get rid of the First Amendment. Can we move on to other topics?
I don't think.
He's so bad at optics, man. He's so bad. This is why he lost the case in Texas. And now he's got another one in Connecticut. That one ain't going well. I mean, come on, dog. He doesn't have that thing where like sometimes even Trump listened to his lawyer recently, and when he testified in the case against his business in New York, he just pleaded the fifth every time, which is the smartest thing Trump's ever done. Alex doesn't have that ability. He's just like, he just can't stop babbling.
I killed him. First Amendment killed him. Get rid of the Second Amendment. Get rid of the First Amendment. They're bad. They killed the kids too. George Washington killed him. Jesus killed him. We should rename the whole planet Sandy Hook. Everything. There should be holidays. We should bow 5 times a day to New Haven, Connecticut for the kids that died. Every American is to blame. Every gun owner is to blame. I'm to blame. We're all guilty. To Bloomberg and Soros. Turn our guns in. Turn our guns in. I know. I did it. I killed them. I killed them.
Dude, I mean, look, nobody is saying you killed the kids. But don't be glib and flippant about the very basic fact that you were the largest outlet broadcasting the claims that you thought it was a hoax. You thought it was staged. You thought it was false flag. You thought it was effectively totally faked. And you made those arguments. You made them over and over and over. He brought on total cranks to make these points, people that they knew were psychologically unwell. They brought them on, and then guess what? The consequences of that were some percentage of your audience are totally psycho. And they took the ball and ran with it. And some of them, I mean, they go on to show one of Alex's co-hosts. I never knew this until watching this video. One of Alex's co-hosts actually doxed one of the family members of a victim of Sandy Hook. And then this person got death threats. And it was, oh, Jesus Christ. One family had to move 6 times as a result of what Alex did. as a result of the way that they covered it. And now it has been found officially he is guilty of defamation. Now there's another case around it right now. But like, that's the argument. The argument is you put out there this bogus narrative and were very consistent and repetitive in making these points. And in turn, the psycho members of your audience harassed the family members of dead kids. You know, that's a serious thing. To have real contrition for that would at least be a sign of humanity. Now, at times he says, "Oh, I'm sorry," but then at other times when he gets fed up with hearing the questions, he snaps like this.
I killed them. I know. I killed them. So I'm done talking about it. Okay. I killed them. Okay.
Can we talk about the trial at all?
There's nothing to talk about. Let me tell you, I don't know if I can do this interview right now. You liking it?
I don't think you should keep doing that.
What? Dude, I murdered those children. I did. I killed them myself.
Still not a funny thing to say. I get the point, but it's just like, fuck, man.
Fuck it. I don't give a fuck, dude. Right. I'm fuck.
Even his own employees are like, bro, reel it in, dog. Reel it in.
I mean, I'm giving a fuck right now.
I understand. Dude,
you want to fucking take me out?
No, but I'm just saying. They really, that wasn't their intention.
A jury in the Alex Jones trial ordering the conspiracy theorists to pay $45.2 million to parents who lost their 6-year-old son in the Sandy Hook massacre for calling it a hoax.
Every sin ever committed on Earth in 10,000 years of history, I did it. The Night Stalker, the Zodiac Killer, I did it. Vietnam War, Hitler. I was actually Hitler. It wasn't Hitler. It was me. I did it. I was in a time machine in Germany. I did all that, okay? I did everything. And that's what I accept. So, you're here with the bad guy. You're here with the villain. Lex Luthor, right now. You're talking to him right now. You're talking to Lex Luthor. How's it feel?
You don't feel like Lex Luthor to me.
I invented cancer.
How?
I just did it. Doesn't matter. I created death. People didn't die before I was born. I created heartburn. I created hemorrhoids. I created hangovers. I created gingivitis.
That's a bad one.
I created hair loss. I created acne.
I wish you could do that one.
I created bad breath.
So yeah, now that we've accepted that.
I invented Prozac that Adam Lanza was on. I had his mom buy him the AR-15, give it to him. I was there. Yeah. Did you know that all money in the universe was created by Sandy Hook? It was a time machine. Before the Rothschilds created fractional reserve banking, before tally sticks, before gold coins, the Roman era, it was the Sandy Hook event that created all money, future and forward. Yeah. Everything is that. Everything.
I mean, how do you feel about like how your attorney did overall?
They said I was guilty beforehand because they couldn't have a real trial because they had 24 minutes out of 10 years of me talking about it.
He's so full of shit. He didn't comply with discovery. So in other words, the documents he was legally required to turn over to the court, he didn't turn them over. And so he was found guilty by default because the court could not get him to comply to give the documents that they needed for the trial to continue. So he was found guilty. And then in the portion of the trial where they were just determining how much he has to pay out, he would kept saying, I'm innocent. And the judge had to be like, you were already found guilty. Stop saying that. You're not innocent. You are not. So yes, you can't make that argument because we already went through that part of the process and you were found guilty. So www.suckitup.net and let's hear, what your punishment is going to be, how much you're going to owe.
Me saying it happened. It's sick. It's disgusting. I was being sarcastic earlier. I didn't kill the children. I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer. I didn't invent hemorrhoids. I simply question things, and they're trying to demonize me to say questioning things is a bad deal.
And elementary school massacre, 26 dead, 27 dead now.
Again, this is where this video will definitely be demonetized. There's even a chance it gets pulled completely. So, fingers crossed on that front. Let's see.
18 kids in Connecticut. When you got small children, this really gets to you. That's why the globalists use children's deaths to go after our guns, because they know it gets to us. So don't ever think the globalists that have hijacked this country wouldn't stage something like this. They kill little kids all day, every day. And it's not our government. It's the globalist. I really think they're going to try to come after the guns. It's going to start a civil war.
By the way, when that didn't happen, did Alex ever have a moment of clarity where he comes out there and says, hey, I apologize. I said Obama was going to use this instance to take everybody's guns. They didn't do that. They didn't even try to do that. In fact, you could go back and see, I remember covering at the time, the gun proposals that Democrats made, all of it's publicly available. You could see what even the strongest efforts were. And even the strongest efforts to regulate firearms still allowed people to have rifles, still allowed people to have shotguns, still allowed people to have handguns in certain places around the country. All they wanted to do was the basics, like ban assault weapons, and that was only on the table for a little bit. It got taken out pretty quickly. ban high-capacity magazines, universal background checks. Like, this is what was on the table. So Obama didn't take all the guns. You said they were going to use this to take all the guns. You were wrong. He never comes to terms with that fact.
I clearly believe from the evidence, children were really killed in Sandy Hook, and it's a real tragedy. Unfortunately, evidence is beginning to come out. People who've been coached, people who've been given cue cards, people who are behaving like actors. I dropped Billy off and watched him go around the corner, and he never came back, all because of the guns. Won't you just turn your guns in for my son? I mean, folks, we've got video of Anderson Cooper with clear blue screen out there. Nothing can account for what happens to his nose. Early on, I said, well, they had to have killed somebody. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Then parents come.
This guy's literally deeply mentally ill, and he kept having him on to make these arguments. Again, saying Sandy Hook was a hoax.
Out, start laughing, and then turn to the camera and cry. No one died in 2012 in Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook is a synthetic, completely fake, with actors, in my view, manufactured. I couldn't believe it at first. I knew they had actors there, clearly, but I thought they killed some real kids, and it just shows how bold they are.
People come to me in hotels and in grocery stores, and I'll be walking my dog, and they just go, the car will go, "Roar! You son of a bitch, quit, leave those kids alone." And I'll be like, I never talk about it to me. Shut up, you son. And some people have confronted me in front of my wife and children and said, "You son of a bitch, you killed those kids." No one knows who Adam Lanza is. When you ask somebody about Sandy Hook, it's Alex Jones.
Yeah.
So I did not kill the children.
But do you feel any sense of responsibility for the way the lives of the Sandy Hook families were affected?
An emotional day of testimony after 3 family members whose loved ones were murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School took the stand describing the harassment they endured as a result of Alex Jones' false statements.
People were, accusing me of lying, telling me that I never lived, telling me that I was going to burn in hell and that I would pay for what I had done.
Hensel testified that after her husband Jeremy committed suicide in 2019, people went to their daughter Avielle's gravesite looking for evidence the family was faking his death.
I couldn't wrap my head around just one more family member being part of this narrative.
It's an industry, it's a business. They got $73 million from Remington. They've sued all these different groups of people. So no, I didn't kill their kids. I already said I was sorry before they ever sued me. And now they've just attached themselves to my name and who I am. They can get all the judgments they want against me. I have hardly any money. All those articles you see, it's like made up. Almost all of it's not even true.
You're not doing too good money-wise right now?
I never, they had a financial expert in my rig trial, and he said InfoWars is worth $130 million, and Alex Jones is worth $270 million. I don't have $2 million in cash. I don't have stocks and bonds. I don't have all that stuff. So it's like a joke. They can have billion-dollar verdicts. It doesn't mean anything.
So they're expecting you to pay $45 million.
It's like $47 million or something like that total.
You think that in time you'll be able to do that?
Oh, no. It's what's ridiculous. And they have 2 more trials coming up in Connecticut and in Texas. Everyone's like, yeah, we're going to get him. He's like, they've built me up into like I'm this giant creature, like all powerful, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Yeah. And none of it's real, so it's funny actually. It's actually comical. I mean, it's actually hilarious. And then the Sandy Hook families, they already got $73 million from Remington. They're sitting there thinking they're about to get this big payday, and it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Are you going to be able to keep the studio open?
Oh, I could do a show anywhere. They're not going to show anything. No. They could run off some of our employees. Yeah. They could shut down some of our people, which is their big job, to shut down America, get rid of American workers. That's the part of the course. But as long as I don't want to quit or they don't put me in prison, they can't stop anything.
Was there a definitive year where big tech really teamed up to deplatform InfoWars?
Yeah, it was 2018, early 2018.
Bay Area tech giants are taking action against a prominent conspiracy theorist.
Twitter gives Alex Jones the boot. Just into CNN, Facebook is purging right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
Apple, Facebook, Spotify, and YouTube all completely banned InfoWars within 12 hours of each other.
Facebook said, "We have taken it down for glorifying violence and using dehumanizing language to describe people who are transgender, Muslim, and immigrants, which violates our hate speech policies."
They had the heads of big tech, so they got together and colluded to shut me down. I knew they had to censor freedom because freedom was so popular. I knew that was coming, yeah.
How did that affect your audience size?
It didn't let us have, on average, that giant viral spread every day, reaching 20, 30 million people. Instead, it was 3-4 million people that were hardcore, but then they understood there was censorship, so they were grassroots putting it down. So it actually made it more underground and more avant-garde, more black sheep, more rebel, and more outlaw, and so it made it more successful in a way.
What would you do if you had a time machine?
I think...
Notice, he said he doesn't have the money, he's broke, but also it made the show more successful when they deplatformed me. It's got to be one or the other, dog. It's got to be one or the other. And by the way, he is worth a phenomenal amount of money. We've covered the stories on his wealth and how he made his money. And I think I saw one of the judges is allowing like an independent third party to sort of run the business for a while of InfoWars. That was just something I saw on Twitter. It was a headline. I didn't read the article, but Be interesting to see if that does happen, because then he sort of loses direct control of his empire. So I guess we'll see.
Even though I got caught in their Sandy Hook trap, and I was covered other people's theories and barely did it, wasn't much of what I did on the on the timeline. I think I'd do it all again. I think this is going to bring us to something bigger. I mean, technically, if I had it all over to do again, I wouldn't have been caught in that trap. But that's not how the universe works. I did these things, and I'm going with the flow of where I'm at. I did it from a good heart, and I think it'll be turned towards good at the end of the day. So I'm not worried about it.
Jesus Christ, man. You do it all again. Wow. Jesus Christ. What a thing to say when you're also, like, he's had to apologize to these people in court, to the family members, and he did, and you can't at the same time say, yeah, I'd do it all again. But then, why'd you apologize then if you think, like, no, I'd do it all again?
I believe humanity's going to wake up. I believe we're going to win.
All right. Let me show you the end, because I feel like that was the last part that was super interesting to me.
About it. Why? It's not a matter of whether you believe it or not. It's a matter of whether you have carved a groove in your personality that the wheel just goes in that rut now. I think it would force a moment of ego he's not ready to confront.
The InfoWars store is like the main revenue source, yeah?
I mean, if I need it to be. I mean, if I need to, I go to...
What kind of an answer is that? The InfoWars store is the main source of revenue, right? No, if I need it to be. He can't give a straight answer. He's such a bullshitter.
I can go to supporters and just get straight donations.
Yeah. So, how do you go about doing that?
Just ask them for the money. The jury came in this evening with $4.2 million. I admitted that I followed disinformation, but not on purpose. I apologize to the families. What I did to those families was wrong, but I didn't do it on purpose. We are so broke. If you don't fund us, if you don't buy products at InfoWarsStore.com, we will shut down. So get a t-shirt, get a book, get Body's Ultimate Turmeric Formula, get Vitamin Mineral Fusion, get them all at InfoWarsStore.com and keep us on the air.
What do you think he deserves at the end of this road?
To no longer be in public life, right? Like, I don't... People have been like, oh, you're out to destroy Alex Jones. I don't want to destroy him. I don't care. If he wants to work at Safeway or manage a Sprint store, I don't care. I feel the right amount of justice is you should not be able to commercially market yourself as a public figure anymore. Like, you should exit the American stage. That's what I think is the correct...
This is one of the judges in the defamation case that Jones already lost. Excuse me, did I say judges? He's one of the lawyers. He's the plaintiff's attorney, one of the plaintiff's attorneys in the case that Jones already lost.
Result. Or at least that's what I think is the most utilitarian good result. But the money's not even really the question for me. The question is, will this be successful at stopping him from being on the national stage? And my worry is, like we said in the courthouse, is it won't be, because the cameras will still follow him. Like, he can lose all of his money. He gets out there again on the bullhorn, and he starts building it right back up.
No, I told you I was going to shut it down before they sued me and shit on my time. Not happening now.
You were going to shut down InfoWars?
I was going to hand it off to the people. Not now. It's not a labor of love now, it's a labor of war. He shut the shit down.
So the question is, can this cause of action against Jones on behalf of these parents come to represent something bigger? Is it a bigger referendum on the false things he's saying? I hope so, man. I hope so.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I see me picking my teeth, my enemy's bones.
Look at that creepy ass smile, man. Holy shit. We'll see. I mean, he's right about one thing, right? The thing he's right about is he can always find a way to turn on a camera, grab a microphone, and rant on the internet, because there's always going to be some outlet that hosts him. So he's going to be around still. He's going to be around. And even though he's going to have to pay a tremendous amount of money, and, you know, he's going to file for bankruptcy for InfoWars, he ain't going anywhere, man. He ain't going anywhere. And I think this interview sort of highlights just how unhinged he is, and how he has zero remorse, and how he's flipped it into thinking he truly is the main victim here. He truly believes he's the main victim here. And, it's really something to see, isn't it? If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.